pour into the county from all over the state, and in fact, personnel from the region. We had federal fire teams, state fire teams, as well as firefighters from all over the state, and particularly our area, where we had all of our volunteer fire departments were activated, all of our city fire departments, and they were activated, and they were there throughout the night fighting this fire. As of right now, the information I have is the fire is only 5% contained, but we do have firefighters on the ground working as we speak to contain more of this fire. The Hatcher Mountain Fire, as we call it, affected over 3,700 acres here in Sevier County. Now that doesn't include what happened in Gatlinburg. There were some fires in the Gatlinburg area. We also had some spot fires throughout the county, as well as we had some fires in the DuPont, Dripping Springs area of our county. But the 3,700 just includes the Hatcher Mountain Fire. I don't have the information to tell you how much acreage was involved in the other part of the fire. Right now, the cause of that fire is undetermined. We haven't been able to investigate that yet, but we will be doing that in the future. We have 5 vehicles, firefighting vehicles, that were damaged. 4 were from county agencies. 1 was from a state agency. We have, right now, we have determined that we have over 100 structures that were impacted by this fire in this area. And the evacuations continue to be in place because we are, our personnel is out there continuing to fight this fire, and we need folks to continue to observe the evacuation until we get it completely under control, and then hopefully soon they can return to their homes. And because we have many first responders that are still in our area. And I know folks want to go home. We all are like that, and we're going to work as diligently and as fast as we can so that our folks can go home and check on their property. And I would urge folks that prayed for us last night to continue that, especially praying for folks who potentially lost homes and lost property in this devastating fire. We did have some fire, as I said, in the Seymour and Gatlinburg area. We think they were separate from this Hatcher Mountain Fire, and they were due mainly to the high winds that we had in the area last night. Many of you were familiar with our devastating fire we had in 2016 in the Gatlinburg and Sevier County area around Gatlinburg. And we had a similar weather event this time to that with the low humidity and the high winds and the rains not coming in for a while. So that is certainly a weather event that I had hoped we would not see again in Sevier County, but unfortunately we saw it last night. We had over 70 agencies across the federal, state, and local area that came in and fought fires all through the night. So without that kind of response, and they came in all day long, we kept asking for additional personnel from all over the state, including state agencies and local fire departments, and they firefighters are known for their generosity, are known for their caring of the community, and they responded certainly from all over here in Sevier County to help us try to mitigate the damage that this fire could cause. We had over 200 people involved in these 70 agencies throughout the night. Code red and IPAWS warnings were sent out throughout the day and overnight to the areas that were threatened by the fire across the county. In addition, we use social media, 1680 AM emergency broadcast, and the Sevier County outdoor warnings. We also had THP and local law enforcement from all the law enforcement agencies across the county, including our Sheriff's Department, Pigeon Fords Police, Sevierville Police Department, Gatlinburg Police Department, who in areas that we felt like were particularly in danger, went into some areas door to door to alert residents and to inform them that there was an evacuation taking place in that area. So all of that seemed to help us as the fire moved. We were able to rely on the Forestry Service and other entities to help us identify areas that we thought were going to be impacted next. And as we identified those zones or areas, we would send out the IPAWs, the code red, social media saying we're evacuating these areas. So we moved in zones based upon the information that our professionals gave us. So we were able to, they were able to last night do some fire lines. And although the fire came close to the city limits, is Teaster, fortunately, they were able to keep the fire out of the city of Pigeon Fords. And certainly that was a major concern of our team, and we are thankful that did not happen, and our firefighters kept that from happening. The Tennessee Department of Forestry is located at Valley View Baptist Church, which is 2219 Little Cove Road, and they're willing to escort the media for any video and pictures that you might want of actual damage that have happened up there, and they're willing to coordinate that with you because I know you're very interested in that. We have also reactivated our mountaintough.org. That Mountain Tough, as you recall, in 2016 was formed to help our citizens that lost property and lost so much during the fires. We have reactivated that for donations. We appreciate everyone's concerns, and we're going to have more information on that later on today, how folks, if they want to send some assistance to us, where they can do that. We're going to have some staging areas where we'll be able to receive that any kind of donations that we have. That's pretty much all I have right now. We had a briefing just about an hour ago with our team. There we have some folks in helicopters who are up now surveying the damage, so that hopefully the next time I am able to report to you, we'll have a little bit more information. I do not know when that is right now. It's going to be determined on the amount of information that we need to put out to you all and the amount of information I have. I don't want to have these discussions with the press unless I have something important to tell you, unless the folks on the team tell me something that we think the media needs to know. So we're going to tell you exactly the information that we have, and anytime that we get it and we think it's important enough for you to know. So having said that, I'll take a few questions, and I've got this team up here with me, and they can.
Is there still a risk to the community right now with the fire, or do you think the worst is over?
I think the worst is over, but I think there's still a risk. And Chief, you may want to address that a little bit about the risk that's still there.
Of course, do we have that fire completely boxed in with our work with the forestry and our federal resources out there, there's always a concern. And the concern is a lot lower today than what we had yesterday. But until we, if people are going to continue to see some fire in the black area out there, there's going to be some, there's a lot of stumps out there, there's a lot of down houses that we're just going to have to tediously work through there. Okay, but the threat's way down. The weather's a lot more cooperative today.
Chief, what is it like in the fire zone? What's it like to fight these fires?
It was rough. There's a lot going on. You've got these heavy winds pushing fire very hard. You've got where we're putting a lot of firefighters in harm's way to try to rescue folks that need to be rescued and providing the coverage for them. So there was a lot going on right there at 10. So again, tremendous environment to be operating in, with fire pushing so hard towards you with those high winds. So it was, I can't say enough for our first responder community and everyone in law enforcement. They really, worked hard yesterday and did a great job of, getting everybody back home.
The 2016 wildfire was obviously devastating. The county said that you guys were going to implement changes in order to respond to any future wildfires. Have those changes been implemented in responding to this one?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you elaborate on that?
Well, one thing I like to say is that our command and control and our collaboration is excellent, absolutely, bar none. From federal, state, local officials out there, we just get in there and get the job done. One thing I'm particularly proud of is that we got the method now to let our public know, with IPAWs out there, the code red, the quick evacuation, just our understanding of wildfires. I'm not going to say that we did it bad in 16. We did the best we could do. But I can't say enough for how well we work together and the understanding across the board of our expectations on one another and how we just get in there and work. So fire-wise, you've got fire-wise throughout the county and the cities right there. That's a good job on that.
Chief, you talked about some of the other spot brush fires we saw overnight last night, especially in the early hours this morning. You hear the fire trucks going to different places in the community. Are those all contained right now? Or are we just looking at this one fire that we talked about starting yesterday at 11?
So this morning, what we've been dealing more with is rekindles of those fires. People getting back in those areas and they're calling. Okay, those fires, everyone that we've had so far has been inside the black. But of course, I don't blame anybody for calling. They're concerned. Okay, so our main concern is the Hatcher Mountain fire right there, and we believe that everything else is contained. Is that what you've got that as well? So that's our operational tempo. We believe that's our focus.
Do you feel that people have taken this evacuation a lot more serious than what happened in 2016? A lot of people actually going to the shelters as opposed to staying behind?
Yeah, I think they did. We had never had in my lifetime, and I've born and raised in Sevier County, we'd never had an event like we had in 2016. It made us aware of what could happen. And so I think it made the public aware of what could happen. And I think everybody took this very seriously from the time that the call was received yesterday morning all the way through. All of the firefighters, the team that was in place, the public, I think everybody took it very seriously because of what happened. I'll follow up on something that was said. Have we done things to try to improve? And we certainly, we had a list of items that we did an after a review. We had an international firm help us do a review of the fire in 2016, and they made a list of items. And we went down that list, checking off items that we did to improve. And Chief had mentioned the IPAWs. If you remember in 2016, we had to contact Nashville to get the IPAWs sent out. And what happened was that our cell towers were in areas and caught on fire and went down, and we lost communication. So that was an issue. So we worked together with the cities and the county. We worked together so that we could do that here. Significant improvement in getting the message out to the public, because we were able to do that. Our EMA director, Joe Ayers, was in charge of that, and he was able to do that as we progressed through the night.
Mayor, when you were seeing these winds blow yesterday afternoon, seeing this fire grow, seeing the same pictures that we saw, knowing what happened in 2016, what was going through your head?
Deja vu all over again. You know, just hoping that the forecast was wrong, but knowing that we better be as prepared as we can, because we've seen what could happen with low humidity, high winds, and no rain. And sure enough, that's what happened to us this time. And we got some rain, but it was early this morning, and it did help the situation, but it didn't completely. It helped us, but it didn't completely put out the fire. So that's the reason our teams are still out there working to contain this.
I know you had said earlier about 100 structures have been.
100 plus, yes.
100 plus. So do we know if a lot of them are cabins, a lot of them are homes? Do you have a message to those homeowners?
Yeah, we do not. We do not have a percentage. You know, we don't know the rental cabin versus residential right now. The message to the homeowners is we're working as hard as we can to get them back in to see the condition of their property. We know they're anxious, and so we have these teams out here. We're trying to, as the chief said, we're trying to get everything under control so that these people can get back in and see what, if any, damage is happened to their property. And I just want the people to know that these our first responders are out there doing that so that they can get back and see in a safe manner, see what's happened in their homes.
Mayor, you alluded to this earlier. I'm curious, Mayor, how close last night did the fire come to Pigeon Forge? What was going through your mind as this?
Right there is Arlene.
On your town?
Arlene Teaster, our city man. And one thing is I want to say about Sevier County is, I mean, we work as a team, and we had the cities all working together. We were in constant contact with the city of Gatlinburg. We had city Sevierville personnel there. We're working together as a team to fight this thing. So it wasn't city or county or worried about who had jurisdiction or anything like that. We were all there trying to mitigate this fire. So I want to thank Arlene and her folks at the city for what they did. They were as concerned about what was going on in the county, and they were also concerned about keeping out of the city. But having said that, I'll let Arlene talk.
You want me to talk? I will say and echo what Mayor Waters said. Beginning at about 11 a.m. yesterday morning, we were together all day and all night, and our communications were directed to each other and all of our people that were working. So it was just an awesome experience to work with everybody and see how supportive everybody was of each other. And that's what we do here in Pigeon Forge in Sevier County.
And overnight, when the fire was, winds were blowing in this direction, what was going through your head as you launched it? Come close to city limits?
Well, it did come close to the city limits, and I was kind of like Mayor Waters. I was just thinking about and remembering 2016, and you can't help but do that, and hoping and praying, as everybody else was, that it did not cross over. And I will have to give credit to the folks that were on the ground. They kept that from happening. They worked and did a terrific job.
Mayor, you said thankfully there have been no fatalities. Do you have any information on potential injuries?
Yeah, we had one civilian that was flown to UT yesterday. He was working, I believe, on a bulldozer in an area up there, and the fire overcame him. So we had one, and I don't have a report on his condition today. I don't know. Do what? We do not have an update, but he was flown out by a Life Star yesterday to UT. We had two firefighters that suffered minor injuries and that were treated at the scene. Unfortunately, that's all the information we have. We don't think there's any more injuries other than.
Those two firefighters that were injured, were they involved with the firefighting vehicles that happened to be damaged, or was it a close call right there? No. Okay.
They were. Yeah, go ahead, Chief.
So the entrapment came up on Hatcher Mountain up there. They were up there trying to protect Von Bryan Inn, and they were making one heck of a stand out the road. And they had to abandon their vehicles and go back into the black to see as the fire blew over the top of them. So, that was a very trying time for us running that fire command to work through that, but hopefully they're all right.
So you were listening on the radio as they said, we got to get out of our trucks and go back to what's already been burned.
Yes.
Stay out of the way of the fire.
Yes.
What was going through, having you heard that on the call come in?
We always say in fire service that we'll risk a lot to save a lot. And you worry about having to face their family if they don't get to go home. And that's what went through our head, and they were able to find refuge as that fire went past them. And so that was our thoughts.
So can I ask about firefighting techniques for something like this? And this may be a question for you, sort of forestry. We talked about backfires a little bit yesterday. What are some fire lines? Can you help us understand a little bit about how fighting a forest fire or wildfire works? What kind of techniques you use?
Generally, wildfire in this area moves across the leaf litter on the ground. So Tennessee Division of Forestry, we operate by managing the fuels. So we'll put dozer lines in where we can, and if the conditions are unfavorable, we'll put hand lines in. So we'll dig down to the bare mineral soil with a dozer or a hand tool, and we put a fire break in. Other than that, some operations that we were doing was structure protection around the structures up in there. But of course, if we had fire coming towards us, we communicate and we pull back to safety zones as needed.
And this may be a question for you, Mayor. Do you know, in this evacuation area, about how many people are evacuated or how many homes might be covered under this?
We think last night, and don't hold me to this exact number, we think about 11,000 homes were involved in the evacuation. But that's throughout the day, beginning at the 11 a.m. when it was started until this morning. So we think that's a number of homes that were evacuated.
11,000?
11,000. 11,000 homes, yes.
Chief, I have a question for you. Would you explain how exactly you measure containment of the fire and how that impacts whether or not it can further spread?
He's really the expert on that right there, but until we've got a box around it, we're not going to call it contained, okay? And that means down to mineral soil all the way around it or burnt material. And so, and you may have something to add to that.
Generally, forestry will not report an area contained unless we have very good assurance that that line will hold. If the hand line or the dozer line, we think it will not hold, either the wind conditions will switch or the terrain does not, cooperate with us, or you have fuel models on the lower side, the upper side. There's a lot of variables. It is going to hold at that location. So today, I would imagine we will have containment going up because firefighters are able to get in there. We don't have the high winds that are pushing the fire to where it's just unsafe to have people close to the fire fighting the fire.
Why was the Gatlinburg fire able to be contained so much more quickly?
The Gatlinburg fire, it was contained because of the wind event. Well, it was pushed by the wind event, and then the rain that came through, it calmed it down, and we did not have winds following that event. So the humidity was raised, the fuel moisture was raised, the fire level just died across the leaf litter. We did have hot spots, standing dead trees, jackpots of fuel loadings where you have a big clutter of heavy debris. Those things have to be mitigated, but once you have precipitation go through, generally the fire sits down, doesn't move a whole lot, and we start working around and getting lines around it. It's just under high wind conditions, you can't put human beings in front of those, that we can't handle the heat. So
There's not to pick on everybody here, but we talked some about the iPause system and some of the notifications that many of us in the area got. From your perspective, how did that notification system work? I know that's something that's new since 2016. Did it go as planned?
I would like to say it did. We were very fortunate that the county has provided us the funding to be able to purchase the Code Red system to allow us to reach a large number of residents and visitors through that system, to reach them in multiple ways, utilizing a phone call, text message, a email, using their mobile alert app, social media, but also it allowed us access to iPause, which gives us the ability to send out notifications through the wireless emergency alert system and the emergency alert system, which we're more accustomed to on the television screen. So it allowed us to reach out to a large number of individuals in the community to let them know that there was an event that warranted their attention, and allowed us to give them specific instructions to hopefully get them out in time before any additional injuries or potential loss of life in those events. So I believe that it worked well. We were able to get the messages out relatively quickly when the incident commander requested it in the multiple areas as this fire progressed across the county.
Mayor, you mentioned this, the reactivation of this website. So many folks are watching this press conference that love Pigeon Forge, love Sevier County. How can folks who are not necessarily impacted directly help the people here?
Well, that's the reason we're reactivating mountaintough.org. We're going to be meeting with them this afternoon, and we'll have more information about where folks can donate if they want to, and how we can handle those donations in a systematic manner so that we don't get overwhelmed with them. So little later on this afternoon, we'll have that information going out. And as a follow-up to the iPause, you know, and the county and the cities also, we have a siren system at all the schools. We activated that in the Wirewood School. So that was one of the recommendations that was in of the several recommendations that was in our report. So there's several that we have tried to move forward with. So I'm going to close this and say thank you all for being here, and we'll be doing an update at the appropriate time, and we will inform you all of that in plenty of time so that you can be present. And again, thank you all for being here. Thank you for reporting what you did throughout the day and last night. It was help to our citizens, all of you. I know, you know, people watching TV heard the updates and reports, and it was important. It was an important part of our evacuation strategy, and to allow the media to be well informed about what was going on. So thank you all for being here, and we'll keep you updated. Thank you.